Howdy, Possum Patty here, and I'm about to start a new project. I was watching someone on YouTube, and they were making a journal with the images from this book, Gnomes, and I said, hey, wait a minute, I have that book. And I went down to the basement and I pulled it out. And gnomes seemed to be very popular around Christmas time. So I started seeing them everywhere. And this is a beautiful, beautiful book. And the images in here are just so outstanding. So I was thinking of making a really nice journal from the images of this gnome book. And it's a little scary for me because I've made some memory keepers and I made a little golden book, junk journal, and I'm working on my gratitude journal, which is just completely made from garbage. And hey, you can't ruin a piece of garbage, right? But I wanted to make something really nice. And I thought this gnome book would be perfect. And I wanted it to be not gnomes and Christmas, but gnomes and nature. And so I looked around in my collection of old books, and I have this wildlife book. Now this is a Reader's Digest book, so it's a perfect size 9 by 6 by 9. So if you fold a 12 by 12 page and trim it down a little bit, it'll make perfect papers to go in here. And I love the cover, and it has a little chipmunk on it, and I really like it. I'd have to do something to cover this up on the spine. But other than that, this book is in really good shape. But I have to take it apart. Let's see, this is 1982. 1982. Wow, so this book's almost 40 years old. It's in really good shape. So I'm a little nervous about doing this because I haven't done anything really nice. And I'm going to take this slowly, step by step, and do it while I'm working on my garbage journals because those are very relaxing. But I guess the first thing you have to do is take the book apart. So I'm going to figure that out, and I'll be right back. That's one side. Well, there we have it. The cover is free. Now I've seen people reinforce this part, and I think I'll do that with some Tyvek. And then maybe I want to cover this with something, and then maybe when I put the signatures in, I can use, maybe I'll do a hidden binding. So I trimmed this up a little bit, and I found a piece of a Happy Mail envelope. This is Tyvek. So I'm going to cut this to fit and then glue this right down in the spine to give it a little extra strength. Okay, I bought this ivory colored solid plain paper a big pack of 12 by 12. There's 40 sheets. This is 65 pound. And I'm going to experiment with a few sheets to see how I can age it. And then I'm going to cut this down to fit into the cover. I put the Tyvek on there, and it looks like maybe 2 signatures. And then I'll figure out how many papers to put in each signature. So my initial plan is to go with 2 signatures, and I decided to do a deckled edge, and you do that just by ripping off the edges, making them uneven. And then on this signature, I've already kind of crunkled it up a little bit. So I'm trying to distress the paper. And I have this coffee ink. You make this by just taking coffee and boiling it down till it's sludge, and then letting it dry. And this is my little sample card here. I like how it gets darker along the decal edge. And I'm going to distress these papers by using some of this coffee ink and some browns and umbers from my watercolor set. Just want to show you how easy this is to do. Now this is all messed up because I did this side and the brown got on the newspaper and was transferred to this side. But to me that's a start, not a mistake. I just wetting my brush with some colors. This is the olive green. I go around the edge, just very wet, very sloppy, very loose. And just kind of wet the page. Cat's trying to get in my lap. Problem is she gets her tail in the paint and turns around and gets it everywhere. Okay, so that's very wet. And I'm just going to take a paper towel and sponge some of that off. Put a little bit more dark around the edge, I think. Every page is completely different. Whatever shows up, shows up. Kind of like that. Work on this side. Now sometimes I make both sides the same color and sometimes I make them different colors. I just try to work fast and loose and drippy and wet. You can see how wet that is. And then put some more color on there. Lay it in there. Let it do its thing. Let it do its watercolor thing. Go around the edge. Kitty's trying to get me to pet her. Basically, you just make a drippy mess, put some texture on it with a sponge or a paper towel, whatever you have. Get some more drips on there. Cat's climbing up on my shoulder. Just going over these little white spots a little bit. Some more paint. Now with watercolors it usually dries a little bit lighter. So these are going to be journaling pages. I don't want them too dark. Although I'll probably put pockets and tucks and things on some of them. And just going to splash a little bit more. Take my brush with a little paint on it, use my finger. Put some spots on there. They come out different where it's dry than where it's wet, so I like the two different looks. And that's it. Then I let it dry. And here's how my painty papers came out. I was going to do all kind of browns and little grays, but colors started creeping in, like yellow and green, burnt sienna. So some of the pages are going to be a little bit more colorful than the others. Tried to put a little gray in with the green. You can see the splashes and splatters. This is an indigo blue with an olive green. I like how the deckled edge looks with the different colors. This is just brown with the green, grays and umbers and burnt sienna, little swirly patterns, just spots and splashes of colors. I tried to stay a little subdued, but purple found its way onto that page. There's a green with a little bit of purple. So every page is a little bit different, some with color. And that's gonna go right into here. And my journal is started. So now, what do I do next? Happy journaling. Bye-bye now.